Hi, welcome to First Night. I'm your host, Ferdinand Gayoles, and with me, of course, is my co-host, Doc Pao Motita. So again, welcome to First Night, your Filipino martial arts to people, event, styles, and techniques. So in this episode, be on our style and technique natin na episode. So Doc Pao, good morning, and we're very happy because right now we have with us GM Rene Tongson.
Okay, so, thank you very much, GM Both, and thank you very much to our viewers. Hello. Welcome to our episode. 15th, this is actually our 15th episode for the first
Right?
strike, and we are lucky because we will have to continue with our guest, Grandmaster Rene Tongson, and later he will give us more about the style itself, the Abanico Tris Puntas. But before that, let me thanks our sponsors, GCAS, Ella, Tumando, Sea Oil, RSB Film, and what else? Anyway, so before we continue, of course, thank you to our viewers. Abil Krebe, good morning. Pugay po. Watching from LA, Sir Tony Aguirre. Shout out to Romelta Revilla, Ted Castro, si Sago Marunsagen, Bus and Senator Mig Subiri, Arnis Tapitapi International, Judo, and Manny Pacquiao. Of course, Manny Pacquiao is also watching us. Senator Manny Pacquiao, sorry. Of course, Lucio Franco, Modern Tapitapi, Mati Alan Severino, and Maria Borges. Of course, Stephen Diaz, Stephen Didier, Felix Ginabo, watching from Tayabas, Sir Abel Crebe. So again, that's our viewers, our new first to catch up here in our for this episode. Okay, so I think it's time now to bring back again GM, Bot, of course,
Yes.
our guest. You may now do the honor, GM Bot.
Anyway, actually, Doc Pao, this episode is very special because this is essentially the sequel of our episode last week,
Correct.
wherein we get to know the man himself, the master, the grandmaster. And now we have him again in order to delve more deeper into the art of Abanico Puntas. And without further much ado, I would like to introduce again Grandmaster Rene Tongson. Grandmaster, good morning and welcome back again to the
Good
show
morning,
first.
Grandmaster Rene Thompson. Yes, sir.
Aga po sa lahat. Good morning to everybody. It's uh it's 11:04 in the Philippines and probably midnight in some areas of the world. So
Yes.
good evening to the other parts of the world, and I am very happy to be back here. And, my appreciation the organizers and to our hosts this morning for inviting me here and sharing the Abanico Tres Puntas classical Arnis system to everybody. Just like we said last time, the Filipino martial arts is no longer a family system, just a family style, but now it is now a world martial arts. So sharing through your channel is one of the best medium probably that we can connect with the rest of the world. So thank you very much for inviting me here. Thank you.
Oh, oh, by the way, GM Rene Tongson, actually, you are not being invited here in First Strike. You are free to walk in anytime in First Strike, as long it's GM Rene Tongson. No more invitations, please.
You,
Don't wait for an invitation. Walk in anytime. You're always
Yes,
welcome.
you will always have a free airtime here in Allplay Network. Okay.
yes,
So,
yes.
so
So,
again, but you
yeah.
remember uh, last week we discussed about some, of course, organizational matters. Of course, we discussed about Grandmaster Rene's history, where he started with his Arnis, and of course, if I remember, he says that he started when he was at 7 years old. I think 7 years old in Hinigaran with, of course, Grandmaster Tongson. So that is with that we will no longer count the year, number of years or grandmaster, our grandmasters have been here, or his experience at the same time, how he go deeper within the art. As they always say, it's no longer about your knowledge, skills, but it's the wisdom. We are going to dig in the wisdom of Grandmaster Tongson today, right here, and how with especially with Abanico Tris Puntas, because some part, of course, from his history is a modern Arnis, and it plays Japanese martial arts, but of course, this time he's actually focusing on, of course, as an art himself, as shall I say, Jebra, what's the call it, administrator of the art of Abanico Tris Puntas. Of course, uh, Abanico Tris Puntas was originated from separate island of his hometown. So, modern Ernest was from Inigaran. And of course, Abanico Tris Puntas, although it's an Ilonggo dialect, I think Ilagaynon dialect is dissimilar, but of course, it's from other island, which is in Panay Island. Okay?
So
Gemma?
I think at this point, Doctor, we will ask the Grandmaster Rene Tongson. The many styles of Arnis right now in the Philippines and all around the world, maybe we can ask the Grandmaster himself. Grandmaster, what makes Abanico Tres Puntas as a style distinct from other Filipino martial arts styles?
Yes, number one, it is always integral as a Filipino martial art. And number two, as an organization, we do not just call ourselves an organization or a federation. We are a family. So we always say the Abanico Tres Puntas family. Now, there is not much difference, of course. It is the interpretation of the universal styles. Yes, because when you strike, some people they call it the ekes in modern Arnis, or the presa system, they call it the ocho ocho, reverse ocho, and so on. In Abanico Tres Puntas, it's the same. It's the same. The universal striking system is similar to the others, but the terminology sometimes differ. Like when you say ocho ocho in Abanico Tres Puntas, we call it ekes, ek, ek strike. Also call it banday banda. Yes, general, because um, like I said, it's very influenced by number one, by our dialect. Ilonggo dialect is very much influenced with Spanish dialect. It's obvious. So anyway, Abanico Tres Puntas was founded by Grandmaster D. Estudioso, D for Dalisay, from Kulasi, Antique of Panay Island, in the center of the Philippine Visayas. And Abanico Tres Puntas as a system has four subsystems. Subsystem one is of course the six combat. Subsystem number two is the blade or the knife, or the short and the long blades. Subsystem number three is the mano-mano, yung kamay or the empty hands. And subsystem number four is the dumog ipit. Yes. Originally, the Grandmaster just called it dumog ipit. He just call it pital. Pital in Ilonggo or is to put weight over. Yeah, put weight over. So pital. But you see, in the later part, he said you can internationalize it. Yes, that's why I called it dumog and ipit. Ipit means to pin down. Is because when you say dumog, it's more of an international term now. It's no longer an
Yeah.
Ilonggo term. Yes.
Mm.
So when you say dumog, it's practically to some people interpretation in English. They say, oh, it's wrestling, to wrestle.
Yeah.
So
Or grappling.
yes. So in Panico Tres Puntas as a system, we teach all this in a ladderized approach. So you start with the level one, or we call it the antas isa. Yes, Antas is
Fantastic.
it's yes, it's a level one which embrace the modules from the basics. Yes, in fact, what you see now in the screen are
Mhm.
starters. That's basic. What they're doing now, it's a demonstration. It's a demonstration of
Mhm.
um of the basic. We call it the abecedario, the ABC,
Yes.
basic
ABC.
strikes in Abanico Puntas. Yes, the ABC. So the screens right now that you see is part of our regular students. We have more than 150 regular students in Cavite alone.
In
Yes,
Cavite
and
alone.
yes, and that is part of our grassroots program. And they
Mhm.
start from the very basic, from the level one, and
Mhm.
then the module goes to level two, level three, and level four, and so on, and going up. So, Abanico Tres Puntas system is it's a classical system,
Mhm.
traditional type. And the original version actually is Espada y Daga. Espada y Daga.
Started. The sword and
Yes,
dagger.
Yes,
yes,
yes.
Sword and Dagger. Yes.
I may just in, but in GM Rene, no? For the information of everybody, being a member of Abanico Puntas, of course, I am one of practitioner of it, GM Bot actually, when Grandmaster Rene Tongson is developing the modules because the Grandmaster himself has no, shall we say, a curricular or a pattern of teaching the style because as far as I understand it's a system wherein he will just he will teach you according
Mhm.
to your capacity, according to your movement, and according to your physical how you accept the technique. But this time Grandmaster Ni Tongson done this curricular or into it formed into curriculum, and it's now
Yeah.
that Badikos Trispuntas is actually go further when it comes to system. Okay?
Mhm.
So because as far as I know, only few only few people are now practicing. I mean, few people have been practice with the Grandmaster himself, and only
Mhm.
Grandmaster Rene is the one who to continue the art, who continues the system itself. So this is an add-on so because maybe later we can discuss it. That's this for the information of everybody. That the system before of modern art, I mean, sorry, the system of Arnis before has no numbers. Okay,
Yes.
there's no numbers, there's no structure, and of course in
Mhm.
modern times we do it structurally. Okay, so
Structurally. Yeah.
yes, GM, but
Yeah, actually, right now I see in the screen that GM Rene here is doing Arnis sword and dagger, espada y daga.
correct.
This is an espada y daga routine, and I can see the art. It's really very beautiful.
Yeah.
The flow is flawless.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and of course, very ergonomic, very ergonomic movements.
That is
Yes.
why I tell you earlier that don't count the years anymore. You can just see how he moves, and of course the wisdom that he is giving to us now. And
Yeah.
to continue with Grandmaster Rene, he says that originally it is a espada daga. Okay, so Jem Rene, can you please more now go on with with the discussion on how it goes now with the current system of Abanico Puntas.
Yes, thank you again. Yes, like I said, it started the basic foundation is Espada. Yes, just like I said,
Mhm.
there's tres puntas. So the first tip is one, and then the tip of the long blade is two, and the ponyo here is
Mhm.
tip number three. And and the pattern there is always a triangle. That's why you will see in the logo of the Abanico Tres Puntas, it's always a triangle because the movement
Mhm.
always is concentrated inside the body
Mhm.
in a triangular pattern. Yes, so it's always
Mhm.
inside. And you will
Mhm.
note that when we always use the abanico tres puntas in a strike, it is
Mhm.
always how do you call this? We have the so-called um, corto, medio, and
Yeah.
largo.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Medyo, yeah, medium
yes,
reach.
yes. Corto means the close
Short
close
close.
distance,
First
and then the
quarter.
medium distance, and the largo, which is
Long
long
distance.
Long
yes,
range.
long, yes. And
Long
we
range.
have the so-called in the corto, we have the so-called taga, or just a half. Yes, it's the path.
Snap.
And then we have the so-called slash. Yes, a
Slash.
slash. Yes. And then the same also with the medium. We have the taga, the slash. And then the largo, we have the taga and the slash. Taga means to hack. Yes.
Mhm.
And then tabas means to slash. Yes, it's a
Mhm.
long motion. And then
Mhm.
from there, we divide the body into the up, itaas,
Mhm.
gitna, middle, and the
Middle.
ibaba or lower
Low.
part of the body. So all of these techniques that you do, the ekes or the otso-otso, banday-banda, abanico, and sungkiti. Sungkiti means to stab, uh, um, or thrusting.
Mhm.
They can be applied into to the upper part of the body, applied in the middle and applied in the low. So you will see the complex movement, the complex
Mhm.
movement of connecting one basic strike to another. Yes,
Mhm.
and all of these actually are derived from your basic lesson. But when you start to connect it, to connect with each other in the proper form, in the proper delivery, and at the same time using the proper stances and the right footwork. Yes,
Mhm.
it becomes a combat application. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim Rene. Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
notice here when Jim Rene executes his techniques, he was saying that it is based on the triangle, the principles. And
Yes.
of course, I really see a lot of angular moves when he defends or when he attacks. And it is magnified because the angles are not only in the steps. I noticed there are also a lot of angulation even in his body position.
Correct.
So essentially, yeah, it's the defense and the attack is magnified so that when I look at the execution, puts the defender in a very, very safe situation wherein he seems to be the only one hitting the opponent, but the opponent seems to have no way of hitting back at him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I notice in the techniques.
And Jembot now, if you notice in
Mhm.
his movements and this movement, the conversion of a weapon into empty hand. If you see from our videos here, see, Jemrin
Mhm.
is actually explaining how how those movements. See, you're just simply practicing the stick, but actually you are also converting it into empty hand. So that's
Yes.
how the Abanico Tres Puntas are actually moving into the triangles. So
Yes.
you see, if you notice in some videos that you see here, see as what
Mhm.
Grandmaster is explaining, see, so he actually giving us the idea that sometimes the movement itself of the sticks and the knife, of course.
Mhm.
If you notice in from espada edaga to solo baston, of course, if there is no dagger in your empty hand, it's still useful. You see, in this video, instead of dagger, he used the empty hand as a trapping.
Empty hand. Yeah.
Yes, it's
Mhm.
as a trapping technique. Okay.
Technique. Yeah. And I noticed that when GM Rene, GM, I noticed that you, unlike, I see many traditional styles in the legs are fixed, but I noticed every time you move, there seems to be constant repositioning of the legs. No?
Yeah, yes, exactly, because you see, to butt in,
Mhm.
one of the most basic, one of the most lesson that you must
Mhm.
undergo when you start learning Abanico Tres Puntas
Mhm.
is footwork. Yes.
Footwork.
We have the so-called pattern. Always it's the footwork, the pattern is always universal. And all of these
Mhm.
are based on the eight sides movement of your angles.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
like an asterisk. It's like an
Mhm.
asterisk.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, the asterisk alone has so many interpretation. Yes. In
Mhm.
the asterisk, while you stand in the center, we have the so-called step one, isang hakbang or one step, and then you have the so-called two steps, yes,
Mhm.
and then you have the so-called sliding step. Pak, 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 you see?
Sliding.
So slide, and then you go to the left, you go to the right. You have the you have the so-called you are being trained also on how to immediately withdraw. Yes,
Mhm.
withdraw. Yes. So you can dodge to the left, to the right, and immediately you can go forward. And at the same time, in a B or in a V shaped movement, you can withdraw. So all of this starts with the basics of the footwork, and then we start to connect this with your ekes, your banda, your sungkiti, your abanico. Yes.
Mhm.
So as a rule, every time you make a contact, act simultaneous, your feet must move. Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you
Yeah.
must disappear or move away from your original position such that you break the center of your opponent.
Yeah.
Yes. So by the time you make a contact, you move.
You
Back, you
move.
move. Yes.
Mhm.
It can be a lateral movement or a backward movement or to the
Yeah.
side, whatever it is. It depends on the distance that you want to create. Such that you control the movement. You
Mhm.
control the distance of your
Mhm.
opponent. Do not
Mhm.
give them the chance to get through, to get
Mhm.
to you, or how do you call this? Do not give them the chance to retaliate. Yes.
Mhm.
Because as a rule, in Abanico Tres Puntas, we always say, make it as fast as you can. Yes.
Fast as you can.
Fast as you can. As fast as you
Mhm.
can doesn't mean that you make a very fast strike. No.
Mhm.
Mm. One or two hits is enough. Yes.
One or
Fast
two
as you
hits is
can.
enough.
Yes, because you will see the movement, the
Mhm.
power is not only coming from how fast can you stab or how fast can you
Mhm.
strike. It
Mhm.
is the body mechanics that creates the extra energy. Yes,
Energy.
the proper use of body joints and everything, your balance, and then the um the correct the correct use of your footwork. Yes,
Mhm.
and your balance, the use of the gravity. Yes,
Mhm. The center
creates
line.
it creates more power. Yes,
Power. Oh.
it creates more power and speed. Yes. So by putting together the power and the speed, you only need one or two strikes and the game is over. That's why we say we do it as fast as you can. Yes.
Yeah. In
So
this
in
video, GM, I think you're showing right now unarmed combat. Yeah. What is
yes,
being
yes.
shown now? This is unarmed combat.
Yes, and you
Uh,
will you will you will see that is the mano-mano subsystem of Abanico Tres Puntas. And
man
what you see now is exactly or almost the same as what you did with the sticks.
with the sticks.
Yes, with the sticks. So it has the same rhythm and cadence and the same
Mhm.
movement as in the sticks that you will notice. Again, also you can interpret it also to the knife. The same movement,
Mhm. Yeah.
same movement. Yes.
Yeah.
So the movement of the stick is transformed or interpreted into blades, short or long
Blades.
blade. It can be interpreted into mano-mano in empty
Manual.
hands. Yes, with the same pattern, with the same movement, with the same counting. Yes, with the
Mhm.
same random system. Yes, the same random system. So all of these are like we said, all of these are subsystem of a system. The system is
Mhm.
Abanico Tres Puntas. Yes,
Yes.
and in Abanico Tres Puntas, if you look at it, it's a very complex system. But
Mhm.
when you start with the basic, you must start with the basics, of course, as a rule. When you start and as you go higher and higher, the numbers disappear. Yes, it
Mhm.
disappear. And all your movements are actually simultaneous according to your muscle memory. Yes, it becomes an
Mhm.
instinct movement. It's an instant movement that you react according to a given stimuli and what is
Mhm.
coming. Yes, and all of these are developed through the proper use of your footwork. Yes. And number two, the proper use and utilization of what your body can do. Yes,
Mhm.
yes. You
Mhm.
see, the exercises of the body mechanics is very, very
But
important. Yes. You do not execute a move by standing or like a log.
Yeah.
Yes, like a power supply post. No,
Mhm.
So
you have to utilize your body
your
movement, your
body.
flexibility, your footwork. Footwork is always emphasized in Abanico Tres Puntas. Yes. And number two, the coordination of the footwork and your hands.
In
Yes.
the hands, yeah.
And
So
when you say coordination, it develops your timing, your
Mhm.
distance, your speed, your agility. In short, you develop athleticism. Yes.
Mhm.
In within you. Yes.
So
And
those yes,
go
sorry
ahead.
sorry Jim Rene, no.
Go ahead.
Just to to give more on the emphasis of what Jim Rene is saying in the stance. We call it actually a mobility stance. It's a
Mobility
mobility stance.
stance.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a mobility stance. There is no such thing as backward, forward, or cut stance. It's about your physical body that brings you to the proper and to the proper stance in your balance
Mhm.
as you do your hand movement. Okay? So it's like a it's the drills that they are the Abanico Puntas are doing is just setting your physical body into the most convenient way on how you do the drills, the techniques. Am I right, Jem Rene?
Yes, yes, yes. It always comes when you see um how do you call this, a force coming in. Yes.
Mhm.
So instant, you have a very short reaction time. Yes.
Yeah.
Fraction of a fraction, as I used to say. So in
Yeah.
short, the adoption, the speed on how to react. Yes, and
Yes.
all of this comes from your training from footwork to your drills, and all of these are applied in drills. Yes, yes, you
Drills.
develop this into drills so that you develop the agility, the ability to adjust to a certain distance,
Mhm.
the adaption, the timing, the
Mhm.
balance, footwork, and all of the anticipation. Everything is inside. And where do
Mhm.
you get this? From constant training.
Constant training, yeah. And I
Yes.
think, Jim, I would just like to add, as Doc Pao said, no, you adjust, you adapt essentially. And I noticed again, we said earlier that whether it's armed or unarmed, low, high, middle, or short or long distance, I noticed that the training method is almost the same. The body movements are always the same. And I think not only the speed and athletics, but I think one thing that your system gives or develops in the practitioner is instinct, the
Yes,
instinct. So
yes,
they don't. I think with the way you move, Grandmaster. I don't think it's only reaction. I think it is already on the instinctive level wherein they don't think anymore.
I
it,
It's
think
it,
like
it, it's
Sir
yeah,
Boss,
it's the muscle
it's,
memory that
the
dictates
yes,
all.
muscle memory.
it's the
Exactly.
product of, yes sir, actually it's the product of continuously practicing the movement itself. It's,
Mm.
And
um,
to cut short, Doc,
yes,
before I forget, would you believe that I only train once every week, sometimes none? Yes, but
but
but but every day, when I sit down, when you do, especially when I'm alone, I'm training. I I I simulate. I simulate, and
yeah,
then I can see if I am awkward there. Yes, because of so
Mm.
many years of doing that. Yes, I simulate it in my mind, and all of these are actually helping me to develop my form, my stances, my and how I execute it. Because
yeah,
like I said, it is also important that your form, yes, because we have this saying in Abanico Tres Puntas, if you look good, you must be good. Yes,
yes. So again, I go back to what I'm saying earlier that this not the totality of all of this is of course continuously doing the drills, practicing. So I think for our viewers, you will not just learn here from just watching. You have to do
Mm.
it. You have to practice it. That's just a product actually. But before that, si Rene and Jem Bot, I just want to say hi to our viewers. Of course, Jonas Paragas is watching. Abaniko Puntas, Lacan Angel, of course. Watching from Bacolod, our friend, from Mostradors, GM Felix Ganabo, Alexander Pisarkin and Bram Prang, of course, Modern Arnis Davao, Modern Arnis Mati Tapi-Tapi International, and of course, FMA Discussions, Filipino Martial Arts Festival Community, FMA, Modern Arnis, Wapper Toll, and of course, Modern Arnis Martial Arts, Filipino Martial Arts. The Lapu-Lapu statue in Russia is a testament of FMA in Russia. That's how Sir Tony is saying. Russian House Group, of course, say hi to Grandmaster. Good morning, Jem Rene, from Ferdi and Doc Kid Pao. Of course, thank you very much, Kid Jun Lanyada, the Grandmaster of Kuntao. Maybe in the future, he will be one of our guests here. Of course, Hilmar Laguardo Morales, Pugay po, and excellent close quarter techniques, as Sir Tony is saying. And of course, best regards to Jem Rene Tongson from Kabangkalan, Arnis Aficionados, Mike Dorado.
Wow.
So that's it. Thank you very much to all of you who are actually following us here. And of course, it's very nice discussion as of the moment. Of course, we should say thank you to our sponsors, of course, GCAS, Amos, we have here Tumandok, Sea Oil, and RSB film, and
Yes,
so on.
yes,
So that's it.
yeah.
So let's continue. Sorry, Sir Rene. I just want to mention those being those watching or following our discussion. So thank you very much. So let's continue again,
Yeah.
GM Bot,
You
with
know,
a
you
very
know,
nice discussion with GM Rene.
we get carried away because I look at the screen and I look at GM Thompson and I go back to the screen and I look at GM Thompson. You know, I want to mix the two, and you see, I want to see and feel what he's saying right now. But you
Correct.
know, GM, I really like the stabbing motion of your style. I
Yeah,
really like it. Very
yes,
beautiful.
actually, Abanico Tres Puntas, in every time we hit, say when hit, I hit you with a corto, oh,
Mhm.
corto taga in Ikis, pa, see, expect it. The next one following is Sungkiti or a
Funky.
trust. Yes, yes, because like I said, uh, cut the time as fast as you
Mhm.
can. Yes. This hit can be, how do you call this? It can stop you temporarily. Yes.
Mhm.
Instant. Yes. Temporarily. But the stab or the sungkiti, when you get hit in the ribs here or in the neck, the lower part here or in the head here, yes,
Mhm.
instant you will see uh yourself is gone. You're gone. Yes, you're gone. It's very, very lethal. Yes, and just imagine if this stick is interpreted into a blade. Yes. So by the time I cut you, you get paralyzed, and when I trap you and push immediately directly to your breast or to your ribs, just
Oops.
imagine. Yes, it's an instant stopper. So normally, when we hit, expect what will follow is a sungkiti. Sungkiti
Okay.
means a thrust, yes, a thrust. It's always a thrust. So you will note, like I said, because of the basic foundation of Abanico Tres Puntas is a blade. Yes, it's palaydaga. It always comes and follows that you use always the yes, you always the tip. It is always the killing. It is always the killing shot.
Yeah.
Yes. And uh we train a lot on these sequences. We always use sungkiti. Always,
Mm-hmm.
always.
So keep it. Yeah, and I noticed, GM, that when you move, there are instances that you seem to stab the attacking hand. I noticed that you're stabbing the attacking hand.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because like I said, stop your attacker
That's right.
immediately.
Here. There,
Yes,
there.
stop them immediately. Yes,
Yeah.
pack. You see, it's like a snake. You come
Yeah,
in, pack. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, cutting. It's cut. It's a cut. Every time you cut, he cut you and then he stab you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, Jen, when you move like that, it reminds me of a cobra. Like, a
Look at
cobra
the
on its
look at the
prey.
body when he's coming in the center. Look at the see,
Yeah.
the body mechanics is you see it's swinging. Yes, because
Yeah.
he and now you see I'm pushing him already. Now he
Yeah.
cannot come in because I'm trapping him. And
Right.
yeah, you see that the trap actually is the movement from your daga. It's from the daga. So without the daga, you use the push or the traps or whatever. Eh?
It goes a
It's
head
an
strike.
yes, it is assisting. Look at that. He's trapping.
Mm. Yeah.
Yes, it's trapping. So by trapping alone will delay your attack your opponent. And a fraction of a delay will be very very little. It's very
Hmm.
little. You will see in the screen. These are my fighters also. Yes, those are my fighters. Yeah, yeah, because I love fighting also. The chicken.
You, you train the thrusters and the slashers.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Also in the screen that yeah, you see that movement there when I do trap in the neck. Yeah, that is part of
Yes,
the
I saw that
dumug effect. Yes,
very fast.
yes,
And I saw the thrust to the neck.
yes.
The
It's
neck.
always in yes because in Abanico Tres Puntas we always hit the softest part and the nearest
The
part.
softest part.
The nearest part. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, GM Rene, we saw the basics, we saw the advanced techniques of Abado Tres Puntas. Now let's go to Abanico Tres Puntas as a combative art. Perhaps would like to talk about that now because I noticed that in many of your travels, you were teaching special forces, you were teaching armed forces personnel, and even um, law enforcement officers. So I think this is just an indication of how applicable the different techniques of Abanico Tresputas is to these specialized
Yes, you see, yeah, I always travel. I've been traveling in the Philippines for the last 15 or 17 or 18 years. And I teach one country to another.
Mhm,
Yes. So, y- and on the later part, I noticed that I have a lot of students. There
mhm,
are actually some I did not immediately identify, but in the later part, I was able to know who they are. And some of these, like in Russia, there are some special agents or
mhm.
what do you call this government agents
Yeah.
enrolling and training. Yes, directly. And they wanted and they there is one guy who introduced himself and he said he's with the secret service of the government. And he said he loves the night system. Yes.
Nice.
And yeah. And there was also this I was able to teach with the Russian special forces. It was arranged by Guru Alexander Pisarkin in Ekaterinburg in Russia. He's
Mm-hmm.
popular there in Russia. Yes. So the system was actually adapted. Yes, adapted by special trainings with the Secret Service, with some with the armed forces and special forces, and with the police, and like in Brazil alone, yeah, in Brazil, you will see more than half of us are police officers, the Brazilian police. Yes,
Okay.
and yes, yeah, that's in Hungary. Yeah, a lot of them also are with the government service. Yes, a lot of them they cross train. Yeah, because
Okay.
it's not Abanico Tres Puntas, it's not FMA. Yes,
Mhm.
it's what they can get. It's what they can get as a fighting system that will benefit them in the course of their function as people, law enforcement officers. Okay? It's not only because of Abanico Tres Puntas, but they see something probably there that can be useful to them. and that is where sometimes they approach me and say, "Master, can you teach me on this and how I do this?" So I impart to them. Not only because of the seminar, I entertain people when they come, especially and like would like to train on a one-to-one basis, and 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 I entertain them. Yeah, and a lot of this. In the Philippines, we have also lots of law enforcement students here. We teach a lot to law enforcement. What you see now in the screen is from Romania.
Romano.
So yes, more than half of them also
Law
are with
enforcement
the
officers.
special police. Yes, how do you call this? Special action police. Yes,
Okay.
more than half of them. Yes.
Jim, let's talk about Russia. I think when you said Secret Service, that is the FSB. Now that's what followed
Could
the
be,
KGB, the
could be.
FSB.
Yes,
And
could
if
be.
it is the Special Forces, I think it's the Spetsnaz.
Yes,
No? And from what I know, these people have they already have a highly specialized and highly skilled training, high level of training in close quarter battle. I was just curious. During your training, then, what was it that they asked you to train them with? What was it that they liked the best in Abanico Tres Puntas?
blades. Always the blades.
The
Yes, yes. They
knife.
this yes the short blade because they said they saw something distinct. Yes. Yes, because in Abanico Tres Puntas, the principle of the blade is when it gets it, it cuts. When I withdraw or step back, cuts. Yes. So you don't waste your movements. Yes.
So there's
Every
a
time it moves, it cuts. It goes back. Yes.
it cuts.
So that's what they said. Oh, we love it. And then it's always in a straight line. You don't do a lot of swing, swing, swing. Oh no,
Oh,
it's a straight line. Always a straight line. Yeah. So in short, the same principle that the nearest point is a straight line. So
yeah,
why go so much dancing when you're using a blade? Yes,
yeah.
you dance with the stick, but not with the blade. Yes. Yeah, because in the classical system, when it was shown there when I was doing the mustra, yes,
Mhm.
a demo, a demonstration, when it shows there that I was doing a lot of movement. It looks nice. It's like dancing. It's like dancing. It's like dancing. But when you interpret this in the blade, you get the nearest point. Yes,
Mhm.
the straight line. The
The,
straight line
the, the nearest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
is a straight line.
Yeah, that's a
Exactly.
straight line. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and that is what makes me wonder when I was asking Grandmaster Matteo Dalisa Istelioso of Colasi Antiqui, Grandmaster, how did you learn this? These are geometry. I said, these are geometry. These are physics. I said, what is that? Old school. He said, what is that? Which, in fact, before when I was starting under him, he would just tell me because we don't have terminologies. We don't have terminologies. We just say hampak or you strike the mountain because when standing here, this is the orientation, and the mountain is to the left. So I strike from the mountain. Yes.
So
And
I,
then he said from the mountain you go to the sea. The sea is here, so I strike it like this, and he said that's a banda.
yeah. Then,
He said that's a banda.
Jen, that's why we are very fortunate to have the likes of Dr. Pau Mutita.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yes.
He is a treasure. Yeah,
Well,
what's nice with Doc Pavatita? Actually, Jen, I'm a teacher. Doc Pavatita is a teacher. That's why if you notice, I was asking about curriculums, syllabus. I think Doc Pavatita was also instrumental in systematizing the system so that it would be easier to teach, especially in schools.
yes.
In
Because
schools, yeah.
number one, to share to my fellow instructors,
Mhm,
yes.
mhm,
If you go into a mass teaching or a wider scope, if you do not have a curriculum, a standard teaching methodology or whatever, you cannot do it properly. Yes, you cannot. It is difficult. Why? Because you teach here today, tomorrow it's different from the other side. So
Mm.
you scramble, your lesson, and at the end of the day, you are not able to establish your teaching, the lesson that you wanted to impart. Yeah. So in a situation like Abanico Tres Puntas that we are in 32 countries, we have to operate and we have to follow one curriculum. Yes.
Got you.
So the Romanian can do it with the Russian. Mm.
Mhm.
And at the same time they can do it with the Filipinos. Even with the young kids in the screen, they do the same with what the people from the United Kingdom are doing from the UK. The same as what you see in Finland. Yes. All of these are we do the same. The terminologies are the same. Yes. So in short, my advice always to our fellow instructors who wanted to explore further and expand their organization, you must have a curriculum. Yes.
Correct,
If you
correct,
do not have
Gemini.
this, you cannot go forward. Believe me,
Yes,
you
yes.
cannot go forward. Yes.
So I
Because
think
many years ago, when I was studying under Grandmaster Resilioso, there is no video. Yes, there is no video. We do not have videos. And he doesn't even allow me to write it down. Yes, when I said, say, Grandmaster, wait, because I write it down. He said, no, 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 no. If you write it down, you are putting yourself in a box. Yes. Develop the muscle memory, develop the memory inside. Yes. So the next day he will teach me this because there is no curriculum. We have a system. We have a system. Abanico Tres Puntas as a system. It does not have a curriculum. Yes. So after several years, I asked Grandmaster Estelio, so Grandmaster, will you allow me if I structure this? Yes. And he said, do it. Yes. So it took me many years also from one, two, three, and then the next day, while I'm eating, and suddenly something pops into my mind, I will run and write it down and come back eating. Okay? When I'm training with my students, suddenly I will pause and say, "Oh, wait, wait, yes, something is popping out." So I will write it down and say, "Oh, it should be here." So until
Intuition.
yes, until such time I was able, I said, "Wow, I started with one module. Now it's 6 modules." Yes, because every time I train and teach them the module, something pops out, and this is one missing. Yes, it has to connect this, and this is the link to this. And until later on, it became a curriculum. Yes, now
Yes.
it's being taught all over the world under the Abanico Tres Puntas system. In fact, tonight, Philippine time at 8 o'clock, I will have my level 4 seminar with my students who are instructors teaching the Abanico Tres Puntas to as a refreshers course for the instructors on how to teach on how to teach. Yes, not to
okay.
develop. Yes, not to become fast strikers or very good, but how to teach. Because at this stage now, the Abanico Tres Puntas timeline is how to teach. Yes,
Okay, okay.
for
Yes,
the last 17 years, we are into this. Yes,
Yes, Doc.
The-
Yes, Doc Pao. I think
yes.
Doc Pao is.
Actually, that's the actually the product. You know, the how those big organizations, international organizations, run through with their organizations, because it is the most important thing that you have one in common always. The reason why you are organized because you have one objective. So that is why in having a big organization, at least you have one curriculum, especially in the Filipino martial arts. And I believe, as a modernist practitioner, how the grandmaster really do the curriculum side of modern Arnis into the education side. That's why I'm more on particular with having this in the education system. But of
Mhm.
course, there's a lot more that you can do your own, as what grandmaster says, with your system, as long as you write it and you have it in documented. See, because the old system is actually the curriculum is you yourself.
mm,
See,
mm,
you yourself, you have to learn a lot of the skills, the training, the techniques, because during that time there's most of our artists or practitioners are actually have more time to do the practice. But I think in modern times, we need to to have also more time in writing all the skills. Correct. So with what Abanico Three Puntas, as I've said, this the Abanico Three Puntas already gone far away. So from the system itself, how it was started, and of course the curriculum. Of course, Grandmaster Rene says that it is important that what US, Europe are doing should be similar to what the Philippines are doing also. So I think that's the only thing that we can propagate more our Filipino martial arts. And in fact, uh, the problem now is some systems are being right by foreigners rather than Filipinos.
Yeah.
Like in modernist and Abanico Tris Puntas, I think this is our pride, of course, because we interpreted it. Of course, we interpreted the styles, the skills according to to our from the roots itself. Okay?
Mhm.
Because Filipinos and other countries have different physical structure. So
Mhm.
you can only translate the art if it is came from the roots itself. So I think
Mhm.
with what Abanico Tris Puntas are doing with the skills and the styles are merely we can also we call it as a template maybe of other styles who wants to to continue their art. And of
Mhm.
course, I think Grandmaster Rene is willing to to assist to help them if they wish to. But of course, here one thing that we should always remember that this style and always as a practitioner of Abanic Puntas, these styles. If you just watch it, you just seen it in the video without actually practicing it from those persons who are trained with Abanico Tris Puntas, really you will be get out from the system itself.
Yeah.
Because,
And yeah,
yes,
and the standard of the system will also suffer.
correct,
Yes,
correct.
exactly,
So, that is why
exactly.
Gem Rene is actually doing now the instructor's course. In fact,
Yes,
those
synchronized
practitioner,
to
yes,
synchronize. Yes,
those instructors before they're just coming in to to the seminars of GM Rene. Then they
Mhm.
love the art, and this time they practice with GM Rene. So this time, for the purpose of continuously in propagating the system, that's why
Mhm.
GM Rene said he's now undergoing the instructor course for
Yeah.
Abanico Tris Puntas. Okay.
I think we call it, Doc Pao, in our parlance, we call it mentoring the mentors.
Correct, correct, correct.
Yeah.
Mentoring the mentor. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot more from GM Rene, actually. But the problem is, we're, I think, running out of time, GM Rene.
Oh,
So, I think,
I did not notice that.
you know, um, if GM Rene will say is still willing to be part of our program tomorrow, then we will cut this now. Of course, to make
Yeah.
our viewers be ready again for more lot discussions with the
Or
system.
maybe,
Yes?
Doc Pao, we can ask GM Rene. GM Rene, perhaps in our next episode, you can share with us the very basics of Tres Puntas, and maybe you can explain it to our viewers. Maybe a 5 or 7 basic techniques that you can show, and we will discuss it so that we'll also have a feel of how you teach. It's like learning from the master himself.
Yeah.
And anyway,
mm,
this is the new normal.
mm.
Oh,
Yeah, yes,
we can
sure,
see the
sure.
basics.
So
I
Yeah,
think
maybe
I have.
the level 1, GM Rene.
Yes, I think
yeah,
I have copies of this in Google Drive. Yeah, although it's
Oh,
an internal copy, I can always share it to everybody because
yeah.
it is a policy, a personal policy, even the policy of Abanico Tres Puntas that we share. Yes. So because you see, what we are doing now is we are documenting all of this for future generation. It's not for our generation alone. We are developing people, new 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 instructors, such that we can develop new leaders for the future. Because in a few time, probably 20 years from now, um, the three of us here, all of us here, will just be part of history. Yes, you will see probably our photos in the newspaper and the magazine, or you will see our statue in the plaza, in the public plaza. Yes,
or, or,
probably.
or we will be remembered every November 1.
Exactly, that's what we
Okay.
mean. So what we're trying to do now in the Abanico Tres Puntas policy is we wanted to share to people. It's for everybody. It's for everybody. It's not an exclusive art because the Filipino martial art, like I said, is no longer a family system. It is now a system for the world, and
Okay.
it is all over the world. Yes.
Yes, yes.
So before we go, I would like to cut it short to everybody
Yeah,
that I really enjoyed interacting with everyone here, and
likewise, Grandmaster, likewise.
that there is more actually. It's too difficult to really explain a lot of details in a very short period because, like I said, when I start explaining or start talking, it's like a locomotive. I don't stop. Yes. So if you give me 1 hour, that is not enough because I wanted to share
Don't,
more to our friends. I want to share more.
don't,
It's
don't, wor- don't worry, GM. We have all the time in the world.
Okay.
like I said, if you want me to come back, the number one bait for me is a cup of coffee. So just invite me for coffee and I'm coming.
Which one? The one being drunk or the one being
One
held?
being both.
It, it's
Okay.
Yes, okay. So, can I thank everyone now?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
for
yeah,
my
Rene.
parting
That's possible.
message. So, thank you very much to everybody who is watching now, and please share. We do not limit the sharing of this because we wanted to share the not to glorify ourselves, to glorify the Filipino martial art system and to glorify the Filipino culture that we wanted to impart to the world. It's sharing and bridging the world through Filipino martial art is one of our basic aims. And establishing international understanding and cooperation is one of our basic aims. And at the same time, cooperation among nations. Yes. So, in short, let us create peace and harmony through martial arts. Martial arts is not only for fighting. Yes. This is in the modern time now. This is now a connection between countries and creating harmony. Yes. It's not only for fighting and for war. Yes, because it now becomes as a part of physical fitness and sport, and it becomes a part of recreation. It has become part of international
Operation.
a mini diplomacy. Yes, a mini diplomacy through martial art. So let us all cooperate with each other, and this is the best time now for Filipino martial artists to unite. The word unite is an overused word, but that is the most essential part of peace and harmony throughout the world. Unity. Yes. And
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yes.
See, okay.
So thank you
So,
very much everybody. Maraming salamat
yes.
po.
Yes. So, thank you very much, JM Rene. And in short, as you say, martial arts is no longer for fighting, but martial arts is, of course, for cooperation and, of course, for friendship. I think so.
Bridging the
Yes.
world.
So
Bridging
yeah,
the world. Yes.
bridging the world. Correct. So
Yes.
with that, I'm excited because next week I think we will focus now on I think even the basic of Jim
Basics,
Rene. Yeah,
yes.
Jim
Yes, I
Rene
will
will
do that.
be we will show the videos or maybe show some demonstration about
Yeah.
how Abanico Pispontas
Yes.
be as a martial arts, how you will do the first, shall we say, the Abanico Tris Puntas first strike and skills will
Right.
be shown by Grandmaster Rene next week. Okay? So, thank you very much, Jem Rene, and thank you very much to our viewers. I have here Helma Laguadro Morales, very informative show when it comes in showcasing different
You?
system FMA, keep it up and good works. Thank you very much. That's a very nice comment. And of course, our viewers, more skills to come. And I'm still having this invitation to all our friend grandmasters and masters out there who want to show their, to discuss about their styles, their skills. Please do not hesitate to write us, to inform us. We will connect with you, and you will be the next guest of our episodes. And with that, thank you very much to our staff. Of course, thank you very much, M. And of course, Sir Tony, thank you. And of course, our sponsors, thank you, RSG, and of course, GCAS, Tumandok, Sea Oil, Amos, and Ella. Thank you very much for keeping this show alive. And of course, most of all, our Filipino martial arts community. Thank you. And as we always say, as what we have discussed earlier, for you to become more vulnerable, become more great in your art, keep on practicing and mag-arnis tayo. Mabuhay at magandang umaga dito sa Pilipinas and good evening sa ibang panig ng mundo.
Yeah, okay.
Good day.
So,
Sebat?
with this, I also would like to thank Grandmaster Tongson. Thank you very much. We really enjoyed today's episode. We'll have more of you, GM Rene Tongson. And of course, our sponsors and our staff, thank you very much. And until next week, mag-practice tayo, as Doc Pao said, and mag-arnis tayo. Until then, goodbye.